What do you mean? Repatriation and forced removal? You just somehow made deportation sound even scarier, dude. At least the Democrats have terms like detention holdover facilities or whatever instead of concentration camps. Let's get to Germany.
Hanging out in Germany, swinging over the abyss. A good metaphor for German politics these days. The high wire act of the ruling coalition has come crashing down. And Berlin, the home of the highest swing in Europe, is the scene of a political ride into the unknown.
Wait, they let you swing? They let you swing like that? What if you just let go? What the hell? I think there's a harness. No thanks. You're strapped in, dumbass. What if you open the buckle?
Don't be fooled by the tiny number of far-right demonstrators. Come down here, this man screams to the local residents, staring them down. Yes, the thugs are outnumbered by both police and the counter-protesters 100 to 1. But their anti-immigration and pro-Russian vibe has seeped into the political mainstream, pulling the tiller of Europe's largest economy further to the right. Over at the Reichstag, the vote of no confidence has passed, as expected. New elections in late February, and a campaign fueled by Angst, a German word for good reason these days. There are fears about economic decline, the war in Ukraine, more German arms or fewer, and of course the high number of migrants and asylum seekers. The Assad regime has fallen right into the heart of Germany's political turmoil. Within hours, pending asylum applications were frozen. The far-right AfD wants the next government to go much further. The refugee crisis has helped the party climb to second place in the polls. Unthinkable until recently. But their leader, Alice Weidel, doesn't do spontaneous.
No, sorry. So we got this question now on Olaf Scholz. You need to get an appointment, okay?
Instead, we were given her chief whip.
Die müssen raus, die sollen natürlich sicher sein, die müssen sozusagen in sichere Bereiche kommen.
I wonder who he's talking about when he says they need to get out. I wonder who the they is. I can't tell.
Sicher sein, die müssen sozusagen in sichere Bereiche kommen. Aber das ist ja so ein Riesenbereich um Syrien herum, wo sie auch wieder zurück könnten. Das sollte die deutsche Regierung versuchen.
Would you force them back to Syria?
Deportation ist ein Begriff, den wir überhaupt nicht verwenden. Das ist ein Nazi-Begriff und Zwangsdeportation gibt es für uns überhaupt nicht. Zum Schluss auch mit Abschiebung, natürlich. Das ist Teil des deutschen...
Wait, what? Woke Nazi. Woke Nazi. Woke Nazi alert. Dude, Germany is so funny. It's the funniest country on the planet, but also very scary. Make no mistake. Very scary. Like, I do like laughing at Germany because I think it is the most autistic country on the planet. It's like Germany and Japan. But also, they are, on the one side, they are incredibly, they're super right wing. I mean, these guys are Nazis, but you can't say you're a Nazi in Germany because it's illegal. So they're literally like, oh, dude, we can't. I mean, I would never say deportation. That's a Nazi term. But what I will say is demigration, which is the exact same thing as deportation, but like we just use a different name. It's like the AfD not being able to use the Nazi banner because it's illegal. So like AfD supporters early on would always use like, what was it? It was like the other old German banner before the Nazi flag as a way to basically repackage the same shit. The Imperial German flag rather than the Nazi flag. It's like, come on, we're not Nazis. We want to do remigration, not deportation. That's different.
Zum Schluss auch mit Abschiebung, natürlich. Das ist Teil des deutschen Rechtssystems, auch des europäischen Rechtssystems. Rückführung, Abschiebung. Abschiebung ist der fachliche Begriff bei der Polizei.
Dude, that sounds way scarier. What do you mean? Repatriation and forced removal? You just somehow made deportation sound even scarier, dude. At least the Democrats have terms like, what do they call it? Like detention holdover facilities or whatever, instead of concentration camps.
Polizei.
You don't like the word deportation because of its historical connotations, but whatever you call it, that's the reality for these people, isn't it?
Wenn Sie das Deportation nennen, hat das einen völlig falschen Zungenschlag. Das wollen wir nicht.
Yeah, we're going to be doing concentration camps and deportation, but in a woke way. And you simply don't understand. It's very different principle. No, it's the exact same principle, but like we're using, you see, we're using a different word for the exact same thing, okay? I mean, dude, if the Al-Qaeda can go woke, when you can have DEI ISIS, why not DEI Nazis? You know what I mean? Liberalism is the monoculture after all. And yes, I have, with my own eyes, seen woke ISIS, so I might as well see woke Nazis too. Who cares?
This is the man most likely to be the new German Chancellor, the CDU's Friedrich Merz, rich, right-wing and far tougher on asylum seekers than the woman who was his predecessor from the same party. Wir schaffen das, we can do this, Angela Merkel famously declared in 2015 when more than 1 million Syrians flooded into Germany. They called it the Willkommenskultur, the welcome culture, and the trains were cheered. Germany basked in its own.
DEI Hitler's going to be a trans white woman? Close enough. You're wrong. DEI Hitler, as it stands, I believe, is a lesbian white woman, not trans. So it is on the queer spectrum, but she is on the queer spectrum, not trans, but, a lesbian woman. Fantastic stuff happening in the world. What a wonderful time to be alive.
Humanity. For Syrian Anas Modamani, this selfie with Mutti, as Merkel was affectionately called, was the beginning of his journey into assimilation. She even featured
What the fuck is this story, dude?
the moment in her biography. But the fall of Assad won't take Anas away from his settled life in Berlin.
Und jeder Mensch soll selber entscheiden. Also wir waren hier wegen der Krieg ist zu Ende, aber trotzdem haben wir hier über 10 Jahre gelebt, wo wir Steuer bezahlt haben, wo wir Rente bezahlt haben. Wir haben das Recht selber uns, dass
Oh, she literally wants to say she's not queer, she's just married to a woman? I love that.
wir selber entscheiden.
You've got a German passport, you're fine, but what about all those other 600,000 Syrians who have got, asylum status but don't yet have their German passports? Are they worried?
Auf jeden Fall, also ich fühle es, ich habe deutscher Pass, ich mache mich keine Sorge, aber viele Freunde, die auch besser integriert als ich, aber leider wegen der Bürokratie, die deutsche Pass noch nicht
He came too close to the sun and then Merkel's kraut-like attitude rubbed off on him. Yeah, he said, I'm good. I'm good. Look at the copy of the Merkel book I'm holding.
bekommen haben.
On a cold Berlin street in the grungy Kreuzberg neighborhood, Razan Rashidi can finally use her real name after decades of fearing reprisals for speaking out against Assad. But the prospect of returning to Syria is full of complexities.
I want to help rebuild my country and rebuild what Assad destroyed and his regime destroyed for over 54 years.
It's a dilemma, isn't it? Because you want to return, or many people want to return, but the situation in Syria is still very fluid. We don't really know what's going to happen there.
Yes. Not maybe with all my family. Maybe I'll go myself and try to be there, but to relocate your whole family somewhere where you have still no guarantees and no idea how life would look like is too early to tell.
The Syrian issue is, if anything, a distraction from some much bigger things plaguing Europe's most powerful nation. In all my years of coming here and living here, I have rarely seen it this depressed. Fitting then that the world-famous Berlin Philharmonic is playing Bruckner's 8th tonight, also known as the Apocalyptic Symphony.
At the moment, I feel like a lot of parties in Germany who are democratic don't really have.
Why do you have to guess what's going to happen in Syria? It's going to be Daesh 3.0. Excuse me. That's the old me, okay? You are fucked up for saying that, okay? HTS leadership, Jelani changed his name. He shaved his beard a little bit, okay? He put on a suit. He's armed with a copy of Why Nations Fail. And he said he's sorry for the beheadings. And I think you're failing to comprehend that rehabilitation happens, okay, in very meaningful ways. He's woke now. Now, as far as I understand, some of the institutions, after being Zelenskyfied, some of the institutions that he is tasked with controlling is still going to be the implementation potentially of morality police. There's obviously not perfect information coming out of Syria even now. And it does seem like they're not doing like mass ethnic cleansing in the way that some suspected that they would, even of the Alawite community. Having said that, however, who knows? Who knows what will happen? I hope for the best for Syria. However, regardless of me hoping for the best for Syria, there is still a tremendous amount of ethnic strife that could take place where both parties, both sides are in some way, shape, or form still armed by NATO and the American government or America's allies like Turkey. We'll see. There's no morality police. That's misinfo. And that's why I said, I don't know, but this is something that I have heard. Jelani, who I believe also changed his name recently, was talking about implementing. We'll see. What I do know is this. It's not like, I'll say two things. Number one, not only was Assad ruthless and brutal, but Assad also was not exactly a real threat to Israel. Now, this doesn't mean that he still didn't play ball with Hezbollah and provide logistical support for Hezbollah. Okay, it's Ahmed al-Shara now. Israel took advantage of the destabilization in Syria by immediately blowing up the remains of the Syrian Navy and the remains of the Syrian Air Force. That's number one. Israel is also seeking to expand into, encroach further into Golan. And I mean, they are basically, the way I see it, taking advantage of the destabilization in Syria and making sure that it's never used as like a launching pad for any sort of anti-America or anti-Israeli action in the region ever again. I see it as like totally cooked, but this is a situation where it's not like Assad was a brave anti-Zionist warrior or anything like that either. Hey, if you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.